All right, hello everyone. It is Friday, December 26th. I hope you guys all had a happy Thanksgiving, a happy Christmas, a Merry Christmas. We had our Christmas earlier in the month, and so we were here yesterday. I've been doing jalapeno jellies. Why is that doing that? Oh, I see. Hold on, my light is in the way. Okay, then I got it. All right, there. Hey, that's better. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about getting a camera or something because I don't think the lighting and I don't know if the lighting on will help or not. But I don't know. My camera just doesn't seem to focus very well. And this is a newer phone. I mean, it's not the newest phone. It's newer to me phone. But I don't know. For some reason or another, it's not focusing very well, or the picture's not clear, or I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys are all having a good weekend coming up. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. A lot of people are out shopping today for their big after Christmas sales. So, oh shoot, I'm gonna have to come back. I forgot to print something. Poop. I'll be back in a minute. I'll be back in just a second. I forgot to print something. Okie dokie, I'm back. Forgot to print my tags. So we are still getting orders on our Etsy for Christmas. We have orders for these fabric trees, which have actually done real well. This needs to be finished up for decoration, but I needed tags. I put a tag on here. So I have an order for 2 trees today. So we're going to finish those up, but I was going to show you guys how I do the trees, which I had a video on it that was removed. Facebook, deleted all the videos. So the live videos anyway. If it wasn't a live video, then it didn't get deleted. So that was good because I still have a few videos up, but not a lot. Anyway, so we're going to do the fabric trees today. And this one is one of the colors that she wanted. This particular fabric I get at Hobby Lobby. I think it's a duck fabric of some kind, but it tends to ravel a lot, which is nice if you want that rustic edge. So anyway, so when you come on, just comment, let me know you're here. And my phone is not. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing anything on my phone. Weird. My tablet shows, but the phone doesn't. So anyway, so we're going to do these trees. What you'll need is some fabric. These trees are about, I don't know, 12 inches tall maybe. Just the fabric part. You can make yourself a triangle. They're pretty easy to make, What I did is I printed out triangles in my Silhouette program or whatever program you use. I printed out my triangles in that. And then I printed them out on a little heavier paper, like a cardstock or something. And then cut it out. And then I use it and I pin it on my fabric so that I can at least get a fairly uniform triangle. and then I cut it out. Of course, I do mine where my edges show, where some people will cut their shape out and then they will want to turn it inside out. I do this. I like the more rustic look where my edges are showing. Now, you can glue these with a glue gun, and I have done that in the past. But I did get a sewing machine that actually is sewing a straight line, and I haven't thrown it in the trash yet. When I did get it, though, it didn't work. And I paid $25 for it at a garage sale. And, you know, it was a Brother. It was one of the lower end. Well, actually, I think it's one of the lowest end Brothers you can get. I think at Walmart, they're like $99. But $25 was fine. And it didn't work. The wheel on the side didn't spin. So my husband took it apart, and the belt had just come off. So we put it back on, works fine now. I had messed around with the tension, and I think I got that fixed pretty good. It's not the most fabulous sewing machine, but it sews a straight line, and I can thread it, and, you know, it works good. So, but you can glue these if you wish to. Now I have some here that I've sewn. We're going to do this green one today and a music one because that's what she wants. And sometimes I'll sew in here a little bit, and then I'll have a smaller opening, and then sometimes I leave it open and then I'll just glue it closed. These all look like I did not sew them in. My most popular fabrics for these trees, and this is a very popular fabric for me anyway, the ones that have been the most popular for me this year have been the ticking fabric, red ticking. I had some blue ticking, the navy. It did not sell very well, but it should sell for 4th of July for whatever I make with it. The red ticking has been really good. The music one has probably been the next color that's been the best. And then this green one has been really good. And then this print. And I'm trying to find another print where it's a little more similar to my stamp that I use on the wooden trees, which if you guys want me to do a tutorial on those trees that I sold at the show, which sold really well, I can do a tutorial. I do have the larger wood tree kit in my Etsy. That's the one that I took to the shows and sold really well. But if I do the tutorial, it'll probably be on a smaller triangle, just so you guys can get the idea of what I did. So anyway, so we are going to do some of these trees today. Like I said, I still have orders for them, so I have to get, the order that I have on Etsy right now is for a green tree and a music tree, and I like to do a few ahead and have them partially ready to go, and then all I have to do is just put the final decoration and tag on it. And some of them I do without decoration. I just do, well, some of them I do just with this, and then I'll have some bells and a burlap rose or a star, and that's it. Other ones I do put the tag on. So the ones with the tag have been the most popular. I will say that. So anyway, so we're going to pretend like we've got our tree all sewn up and ready to stuff. This is, like I said, this is like a duck cloth, and it is very ravelly at times, but you know, that kind of lends to that rustic look, so we're good with that. This one is pretty good. I'm going to work with this one and then the music tree. So we've sewn it up. You'll either glue it or sew it, whichever one you wish. And then we're going to use the stuffing to stuff it. Now, when I go to try, I want to try to stuff this point first. So I'm going to do that first. And I don't want to have a whole lot because this is a tiny little area. Now I know some people, when they glue them, they will glue this little area and then they'll stuff that and then they'll glue more. But since we've sewn these, and I actually prefer them sewn more so than glued. So I'm going to use a little dowel. You can get these at Amazon, or you can get these at Walmart, or you could even go outside and take a little stick. You can use your scissors. You know, your close your scissors and use that. But I want to try to get this point stuffed, because that's an important part. Just stuff the point. So we are working to stuff it. Like I said, you start out with a little bit of stuffing because you don't want to do too much. All right, so there's our point. It's stuffed. It's stuffed pretty good, almost to the end there. That's probably about as close as I'm going to get to that tip. I'm going to try to see if my scissors might go in a little bit more, but I don't think they will. But that's actually really pretty good. All right, so we got that stuffed there. Then we're going to put a little more stuffing in here. And I'm going to stuff these kind of full because I like them full. I did buy a new box of stuffing because I was running low. You can use a lot of things to stuff this with. I know a lot of people will use old pillows that have the styrofoam, have the stuffing, you know, the fluffy stuffing in them. I had some pillows and I did not like that stuffing. It was more dense, and when I went to try to put my stick in, it was harder to get through because it was so dense. But in watching some of the videos from some people, because in the morning when I get up and I let the dogs out and all that, I just watch some YouTube videos. So I can see if, you know, what people are doing. And I have seen them take some of that stuffing because it is kind of dense and they will rip it apart like that, which I didn't do. So maybe that's my problem, is I didn't rip it apart like I probably should have. So I am stuffing this pretty full. And I'm just using my hands right now because I have stuffing on my nose. I'm just using my hands right now because it's my fingers are getting it in there pretty good, and actually it works much better because I can push a lot more in there with my finger. And I'm just kind of pushing and turning and pushing and turning. So we're getting there. Take my scissors and try to stuff a little bit more, a little bit tighter. Matt's out denailing some wood. We get wood and it's got nails in it, and he has to go out there and take the nails out. I want to make some planters for our pots. We're going to get ready to, I have some jalapeno plants. Well, so, you know, we're in Central Texas. It's been 80s this week. It's beautiful. But today it's supposed to be almost 85, I think. And tomorrow, I think it's supposed to be in the 70s. Maybe it's supposed to be the 80s here. I don't know. We watch the Dallas news, Fox 4 on Dallas, because it's, you know, it's not that far to Dallas, but, and you know, it's kind of similar weather, but sometimes we're a little hotter and sometimes we get more rain than they predict there. But, it's supposed to be 85 today, I think. And then it's supposed to be, I think, 70s or 80s tomorrow. I'll take it. I'm glad. And then it's supposed to be a high of 42 or 46 on Monday. And then 52. I think it's 46 on Monday, and then I think it's 52 on Tuesday. But we're supposed to have some colder weather. So, but I have some jalapeno plants that I planted earlier in the year in a planter, and we put the planter on wheels. That makes it much easier to roll out and on the patio and roll it around on the patio and stuff. And so I want to make some more planters. And we have a lot of scrap wood out there that would work, that works great for planters. So I'm going to work on that, making some planters. So say hi when you come in so I know you're here. I don't know what's going on with my comments, but I'm not getting anything as far as my phone is not showing that anybody's there. So hopefully I'm recording. We will see. It says I'm live on Facebook on my tablet, but my tablet's like 15 years old, but it still works, so. So I'm kind of stuffing this pretty full. I want it to be kind of plump. And see, as I'm stuffing it, it's kind of getting kind of rabbly on the edges, which is good because that's kind of rustic. It's kind of what you want for that. For this one, this is what it's supposed to be. So anyway, I got my jalapeno plants in that planter, and I need to replant them. We have not had luck with our peppers in our garden here. And this last year, we have voles. Voles are like bigger than a mouse, but smaller than a rat. And they eat plants and they eat vegetables and, you know. So we have voles in our garden. And we're trying to figure out how we can get rid of them. When Matt mowed down the corn, they scattered, just tons of them scattered out of the corn. And they burrow in the ground. So we replaced some of our tomatoes that died out. And when you took one of the tomatoes out, a vole came out of the ground and scared the crap out of him. And jumped up and ran off. And he killed it and asked me what it was. And I said, that's a vole. I found him out in the yard because we have wild cats around here, which I wish we had more of. And sometimes I'll find them dead out in the yard. But anyway, so we got to figure out how to get rid of those. And we haven't had good luck with our peppers. So I thought he can do some in the garden. I want to do some in a planter. But I've been making a lot of jalapeno jelly. All right. So now I have my tree. And these are our bases, which we do sell unfinished on our Etsy. I stained it with Waverly Chalk Paint Antique Wax, diluted. I put some water in it and I stained it because it works much better that way. And this is kind of a light to medium kind of stain. It'll maybe look lighter on the camera. It's a little darker in person. I get these spindles off of, this is a 3-inch spindle. You can get them from Hobby Lobby. I used to get them from Hobby Lobby and they raised the price and lowered the amount in the package. So basically they had almost double from what I was paying for them before. So, woodpeckerscrafts.com is where I get these, and I buy them at least 100 at a time, and I use them all. So, because you could use these spindles. I should have brought one in here. I don't think I have any just regular spindles here. Maybe I do. Okay. So this is how they come. It's about 3 inch. This hole here is close to 1/2 inch. I always cut a little piece of dowel and glue it in. And then I drill into that to get my dowel in there. Because I'm not going to use a 1/2 inch dowel in this hole because then I can't get it into the tree. It's too big. So I get these. Hello, Janet. How are you? Where are you from? Janet. Sorry, I gotta put my glasses on. My phone is not reading comments. And if I missed your entrance, I apologize. All right. So anyway, Woodpeckers Crafts. Make sure you put in crafts.com is where I get these. Honestly, I can't tell you how much they are. I know the last time I ordered, I think 120 or 130. And if you order over $75 worth, you get free shipping. So I usually try to do the free shipping. Where are you from, Janet? So these are 3 inches. Like I said, this is a 1/2 inch hole. I cut a little piece of wood to glue in there, and then I drill into that in the middle so that I can put my dowel in. I think this is either a 3/16 inch. Don't think it's a quarter. Maybe it is a quarter. It might be a 1/4 inch dowel. And I just drill a hole into that. I don't know if you can see. And then I glue that into that. And that's what I do, because if you put it in too big of a dowel, you can't get it in your tree. So I'm gonna, and then this is a 3x3 approximately 1/2 inch plywood. You could use 3/4 inch wood if you wanted to. You can cut the base any size you want. You don't have to do 3x3. You could do, oh, West Virginia. Oh, nice. Are you guys having good weather there? Because we're going to be, are we 85 yet, dear? We're going to be close to 85 today. No snow here in Central Texas. I don't miss snow in Nebraska at all. We moved here from Nebraska 3 years ago. I don't miss the snow. I don't miss the cold. So, you can do a 3x3. You can do a 2.5 by 2.5. You don't have to do this size. Or you can use a round wood slice. You can use anything for the base. I find these to be very sturdy and versatile. Plus they give your pieces, whatever piece you're doing, little character. I have made risers with the round. I had some round bases and 2 different sizes. And I think I had a 4 inch and a 5 inch, or a 3 inch and a 4 inch. And I made risers out of them, and that worked out really well for me. It's cold. Yeah, West Virginia. And that worked out really well for me. So you can make risers with these. You can use them for feet when you're making a tray riser. I mean, there's a lot of uses for these. Of course, you can use them as candle cups too, for the skinny little taper candles. But I use them for my trees and for risers that I make. So anyway, so I'm gonna, like I said, my husband drills holes through the candle cup, and then he drills holes, and I drill the holes in these in the middle, and then he puts a star screw in. These are the star screws, not the deck screws, not the drywall screws. I don't like to use the drywall screws because they slip. Sometimes they won't seat inside very well. They'll strip out. These have more points on them, so the drill grips them better. And so then you can get them into and have them seated underneath of your piece of wood. So
it's a torque screw.
Torque screw. Well, it's a torque screw. They call it a deck screw. Some people call it a star screw. Depends on where you're at. Anyway, whatever you say. So, and then like I said, I drill a hole in here. I glue my dowel in. This is, I believe, a 1/4 inch dowel. You could use a 3/16 inch dowel. Whatever works for you. If you use a thinner dowel, just make sure that when you put it in there, you don't press too hard because you'll break it right off. Then you have to cut it off, and you have to go back and re-drill and all that. So I'm going to put mine in here, and sometimes it's a little hard to get it in through the stuffing, so you just kind of work it. That's why I said don't work it too hard because you can break it. So we'll work it into the stuffing. Bring this down a little. Now also, oh shoot, I don't have a tape measure. Boy, I thought I was all prepared and I am not. What are you yapping about? Oh, whatever. Okay. Anyway, so what I like to do is I like to make sure that I know how wide my tree is at the base, because they're not always all the same. So I'll measure, this one's about 7 inches, which means my center should be about 3.5. So I kind of try to make sure that my dowel is at about 3.5, and it looks to be about even. You can always move it, so I want to make sure I'm down here enough. And you're going to have your stuffing in here. Oh, wait a minute. First I want to do this first. Sorry. First, I want to close up part of one side and part of the other side, because that helps me to get in the middle a little easier. Plus, I have to put stuffing into that corner. So I'm going to put my glue in there. You can sew this up to here if you wish to also, which I have. I just didn't do it on these. Then I'm going to put my glue in there. I'm going to press that on really, really good. Because you want to make sure that that glue does not come loose. And then I'm going to... Now, the reason why I sew these now is because I like the fact that I don't have an issue with, as I'm working with them, the glue coming loose if it didn't quite weave into the fabric. I love hot glue. I have used hot glue for, probably 30 years, since the 80s. I have done tons of stuff with it. I mean, I made photo albums. I did tons of sachets and everything else. Just tons. I love hot glue. All right, so now I'm taking my finger and I'm pressing some of the stuffing into this corner. If you can see that. I'm going to have to get a different camera, I think. And then I'm going to go on this side. I'm going to press that into that corner. And that's partly why sometimes it's better if I sew this already, because then I don't have to glue it and then do this. I can just already do that while I'm stuffing. All right. So I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to look at this. I'm going to see if I can't glue a little bit more. I want to push my stuffing up there because I don't want to get my stuffing into my seam. And then I'm going to, now watch yourself when you're working with this hot glue, because it is hot. All right, so now I'm going to see where I'm at here. So I'm going to put my dowel in. I'm going to start gluing this. I'm going to make sure where I'm at. I'm at 3.5. Yep, that's perfect. I'm going to glue my dowel in here. And so what I do when I put my little piece of wood in is I put my piece of wood that goes in the hole a little taller than the candle cup, because that way I have something to glue to when I'm gluing the dowel and the base in and everything. You want to make sure your base is straight. All right, now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to push my stuffing down on the back side. I'm going to glue this on the back side. Let's see if we can't glue all of this in one shot. So have any of you guys made pepper jelly? I made it a few months ago. And it actually turned out really good. We sell okra and pickled okra. I have my food handler's permit. I had my food handler's permit when I was in Nebraska. It's a much more complicated process to get your food handler's permit in Nebraska than it is here in the state of Texas. I don't know what it's like in your area. All right, so looks pretty straight. Doesn't it look pretty straight? Yeah, I think it is pretty straight. So now one of the things that I do, now you don't have to do this, but this is what I do, is I'll take a little bit of glue and I'll put it around that base right there, and then I pull my tree down. Because I want my tree to kind of hang down just a little bit. And that glues my thing right into my candle cup. And I'll do it on the back side. Now that's just me. You don't have to do that. Some people don't use the spindles. They'll use they'll just drill a hole in their whatever piece of wood they're going to use for their base. You know, wood slice or square piece of wood, or you could even use a thicker 2x piece of wood if you wanted to. And then they will and then they'll just I don't need any more of this stuffing. Put their dowel in their hole. Some people just hot glue it if it's for their own personal use. We sell on Etsy, so. All right, now we're on to the decorating. This is what we have right here. Now we're on to the decorating. So you can decorate these however you want. You can leave it like this. You don't have to decorate it at all. I get this greenery, Christmas greenery from Hobby Lobby. I will take this piece here. I'll take a piece off of that. I save my scraps because I use them for other things. So I'm going to work in threes for this. I'm going to put a piece right here with my hot glue. And this greenery, I have to hold it down a little bit because it doesn't like to stick otherwise. Am I out of frame? Tell you, I'm going to have to get a different camera, I think. Because I'm not having good luck with this phone. And the weird thing is that my other phone worked really well. It was bright. I didn't have any issues. So I'm going to take another piece here. And this is probably about, I don't know, 2.5 inches. Put this down here. You can do it. It doesn't have to be perfectly like I do it. You guys could do whatever you want, because that would be your trees, whatever you're making. But these have been very good for us. We have sold a lot of trees in all kinds of forms, whether it's wood or fabric or whatever. We've sold all kinds of trees. All right. I don't know. I'll tell you what, that focus is terrible. All right, so this is what I have right now. So now we're going to go to the next stage, which is our cheesecloth, which I love working with the cheesecloth. It's my favorite. I use it on almost everything. For whatever reason, I have a thing for it. I don't think I like that piece. Leave that for something else. I tea dye my cheesecloth. I get it from Hobby Lobby. I saw that when I ordered my last batch, they had gone up to $4.49. This is in the Sewology. There's two different ones. One is an unbleached. This one is white, so I'm assuming it must be bleached. I don't know why the bleached is more expensive than the unbleached, but it's $4.49 for I don't know how many yards. but it's the most reasonable I found. So what I like to do, as if you can see on this one here, is I like it to be hanging down. So I'm going to figure out how far down I want it, because we got to cut some of this off because it's too fat. So then I'm going to I can get usually 3 pieces out of a strip like this. And this is, and of course yours is going to be different than mine. This is about a little over 13 inches. So I'm going to trim this. I'm going to cut it probably, let's see, we're going to go right here. So how wide is that? It's a little over an inch. And this is, you know, because this is just going to hang down in kind of a rustic way. So that's for that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this in half. Basically, as close to half as I can get it. All right. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to find my close to my middle. Now I tea dye this, but I also, sometimes I'll coffee stain it with the tea dye. Not just all tea dye, I might coffee stain it. So then I'm going to take it and I put some glue right here in this little open section that I left on my greenery. And I'm just going to stick it right in there like that. You can trim the edges if you want. This is just how I do it. Well, let's see. See how fat that was. No, I want to do this. So then I'm going to set that aside, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bow, the bow part of the bow. Now the reason why I do this is because I don't want this to be real thick here, and if I go in and I do a bow and tie it and all, it's a little thicker there, and I don't really want that. So I go in and I will take and I'll fold this in. You can fold it in how you want to. This is about 3 inches folded in, and then I'll put a little glue there. And you might want to use like those fingertip protectors or your scissors or one of those silicone spatula things. And then I'll go on the other side and I'll do it that way. Trim it off. Glue it together. And then I'll kind of squish it in the middle. This one might be a little big. Yeah, it might be a little big. Might want to have a 2.5 inch. I think I want 2.5 inches. You might want to do it just a little smaller. That's too small. Well, we'll get it right here. You know, when you're doing this stuff on a live, you know, when you're doing it, just doing it, it always works better than when you're doing it on a live for whatever reason. And then I save my scraps because I use them in some of my smaller products. Okay, we're going to put that together, squeeze it together. Yeah, that's a little better bow. All right, so then we're going to stick it right there where we glued our other piece. Stick that down. I put the seam side down. Okay. Now the next step for me is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to make a bow. Now I want my tails long because we tie bells on them. So I'm making a double loop bow very quickly. Probably got these too long, but that's okay. And I just make that and then I tie it because I'm going to do 4 strands hanging down. And I want this kind of long. Can you turn it down? Thank you. Well, you're on my live with the music. All right. Now, for these two pieces that I'm doing, I'm going to do these brighter red berries. I'm going to do 3 red berries positioned, one on top, 2 on either side. I'm just taking this and ripping these off the thing. I got a music when I got to finish. I don't know if that UPS place is open today. I don't know if UPS is running today. If they are and I get these done, I'll ship them today. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my red berries on here first. Then I'll put my bow over that. So I'm going to put one here. This is how I'm doing it. One here. Like that. I put one here, kind of right there by the bow. We're going to set that there. Kind of snipping off to maybe there's about an inch of that hanging off. I can always take it off and shorten it if I need to, or I can make it longer. I can pull it out and make it longer, but we want that there. We're going to put our bow on. These go together pretty fast once the stuffing and the base is on them. They go together pretty fast. I'm going to put my bow in the middle, just like that. Holding it here for a second. All right. That's what we've got. So now, what I have, where did I put, there they are. I do 2 jingle bells tied onto the jute that I put on there. And sometimes I have to take, I use a 2-ply for the bows on these, because I don't want them too fat. Sometimes I have to take a little bit of hot glue, put it on there. I'm going to have to trim this because it doesn't want to go through. And then I'll just tie it on there. I don't want them to be even, and sometimes they get that way, but most of the time I like to make them just a little bit off of each other and not totally even. Just tie it off. The nice thing about this is, if I want it shorter, I can do it shorter. And I like to tie them on the outside ones. Okay. That's what we have. And then this is my print that I printed out on my printer. I have an Epson EcoTank, so I just print this out. This is just some antiqued paper I got off Amazon. You could antique your own typing paper with tea stained or coffee stained. I just used this. So this particular one, she wants Peace on Earth. Excuse me. Okay, for this one, she wants Peace on Earth as a tag. So I just cut it pretty close to the letters. And then I want to leave this top a little long because I want to make sure I have enough to put it on there and to be able to crinkle it a little. And I have, because I'm going to put a rusty star on there. Okay, now I'm going to put some dark wax around the edge. Those of you who have watched me before know that I make my own dark wax. I use the green turtle wax, which is kind of soft. It's almost like whipped cream. And I use a combination of apple barrel paint. I use the burnt umber and the nutmeg, and I mix it together until I get the color that I like. I bought dark wax off Amazon and I didn't like it. I used to use dark wax when I painted furniture a lot, and it was fine. But for some reason, when I got this dark wax, I was like, God, I don't like this at all. So then I just take and I just do along the edges. I make sure that I dust it off on a paper towel, because, you know, I only want a certain amount. This is for me. You do whatever you like. But there it is, antiqued. And this paper does come antiqued, but that is not always enough. And sometimes, you know, depending on where I'm cutting, I can cut out most of that and it's just kind of colored. So that's why I do a little bit of antiquing on it. All right, so now in the middle here, I'm going to put my piece of paper. Want to make sure that my tag is long enough that I don't have interference with the Rusty Star. If I use like a rosette, sometimes it will be, you know, but this is pretty good. Oops, there's several there. Oh my God. All right, so I'm going to put my piece of paper, oops, right side up here, and I'm going to check to see how that star is going to fit, and then I'm going to crinkle it down here, and I'm going to tack it so that it hangs down like that. And I may just trim this just a little and make it kind of more like a tag shape on there. Just so that because I think I got a little bit of leeway there. All right, so we're gonna glue our tag on there. And then I'm going to hang my pieces down, and I'm gonna tack this at the bottom first. And then I'm going to tack it in the middle. And just a light tack is all you need. You don't need too much because it's paper. And I can always reposition it if I think I need to. So there it is. It's kind of hanging down there on the side, see? Like that. My bells are hanging down. And then I take my Rusty Star. I needed to get some more. What I'm going to probably do is I'm going to take some of my wood stars and I'm going to do the cinnamon thing on them, because these Rusty Stars are getting to be very expensive, and I don't necessarily like how they look as much. And I want a star that might be a little larger than this one. And there, this is what we have. Now I could trim off these bottom ones a little bit. In fact, I think I will. But, you know, I kind of want them hanging down, and I want it to be a little bit rustic, which is what we are doing. But I want to even up those ends a little. There. So there we go. That's it. So these are pretty easy to make. They, you know, the first couple might take you a little bit. Like I said, you can decorate them. You can not decorate them. It's up to you. It's whatever works for you. So, but I do appreciate you guys here coming in and watching. I am hoping to do a live on this Santa. I'm going to prep some pieces. I also cut some pieces so that I can do that as a bunny. a snowman, a penguin. I have all of those. So anyway, this is it. This is where we are. I also have a music one, and I'm going to finish that one up, and then I'll have this order done, and then I'm going to see if the UPS is running today, and if they are, then I will ship these out so that the gal has her stuff. She ordered it Christmas Eve, and I want to make sure I can get it out if I can. So I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. Like I said, I'm going to try to do the, I was going to do the, bunny one, but then, the bunny and the Santa and the whatever, I was going to do that, but, I had these 2 orders come in, and since Facebook took my tree tutorial off, when they took off the lives, and I have started to add my lives now to a YouTube channel. I thought, well, I'll just do this real quick. And like I said, you can either glue it or sew it. It's a fairly simple, cut a triangle, 2 pieces of fabric as a triangle. Like I said, you can find them on, you could even find a pattern on Google or whatever, and print it through your Word doc, even on a piece of typing paper, and then cut your triangle out. And what I usually do is when I print something like that out, I will fold it so that I'm only cutting the bottom and one side, and then I don't have to worry about it not being even, because it should be even then. So you can cut a simple triangle. You can make them any size. I have some bigger ones that I've made, that I have made and sold at shows that are out of fabric. The smaller ones that sell much better. So we are going to work on more of those, to be more efficient with our product. And also that's what more people have room for. That's a simple triangle. Like I said, you can get these off of woodpeckercrafts.com, or you can get some at Hobby Lobby. I think they're $3.49 for 3. Which makes them about $1.17 a piece. To me, that was a little more expensive since they were way under $1 when I used to get them when they had 5 in a pack. And they also sometimes would have them on sale. So, so we're going to, but like I said, you don't have to use this base. You could use a wood slice. You can use a 2x square. You don't have to use a base at all if it'll stand. You could stick your tree with the stick into some styrofoam in a cup, or a painted pot or decorated pot or whatever. You don't have to use any kind of a base like this. It's up to you. The ability for these fabric trees is, you know, you can do small ones and use them as bowl fillers or even as ornaments. So that's where we're at on that. Like I said, I'm going to try to get my other project going, and once I get the design prep and get my design style down on that, then I can come back and do a live on it. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and thank you for joining me. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.